Dude, what it is? What's up? This is Poseidon of Deep Astrology. Welcome to my page. Peace, love, and light vibrations. This video is about Mars opposing Saturn. And I'm just going to ask for the Spirit of God, Spirit of Truth, just to endow me. At this time, I call all forces of love, light, and imagination to intercede at this time while this message is being channeled and transmuted. I ask that we all be one mind, body, and soul, one in mind, one in body, one in soul, connected. Breathing, we are all breathing in the same air, and we are all breathing it for free. So that is what connects us all, is the fact that we're all breathing in the same air. And the fact that it's free for every single one of us to breathe in this air that we did not create. Thinking about some shit like that will really fuck your whole life up in a good way. It'll make you think about every wrong you've done, every negative thing you said about yourself, every negative thing you said about other people. It'll just bring you to your knees in surrender when you think about that. I just thought about that just now. The fact that we all breathe the same air and it's free. But we treat each other as if we're different or we're less qualified. And so within this video of Mars opposing Saturn, I tend to break down the planetary aspect of this, the spiritual and psychological aspect of it, and the physical aspect of it. So let's talk about Mars opposed Saturn. Mars is right now conjuncting the North Node in the watery sign of Cancer, which Cancer is the fourth house, which is a house of our identity. It's a house of our emotional perceptions, our emotional identity, how we connect to the rest of the world. It is the house where this connection to the rest of the world is nurtured through our parents, through our mother, through our father, through our household, through our communities, the activities we participate in, those things that helped us to gather with others and created a emotional connection. Okay, when we're dealing with Capricorn, Saturn right now, which is the ruler of Capricorn, the ruler of the 10th house of status, career, lifelong achievements, recognition. These houses that we're speaking on, the 10th and the 4th house, which is in alignment with our south and north node, Capricorn being our south node, Cancer being our north node. These are points of karma. You understand what I'm saying? Because when you're talking about the 4th house, what you're talking about are subconscious pathologies that have been engineered as your psychological, your psychic, your subconscious makeup. When you're dealing with the 4th, when you're dealing with the 1st, the 4th, the 7th, and the 10th house, you're dealing with houses of identity, of personal identity, how we connect with the rest of the world, and then how that identity ends up shaping our own values, our perception, which creates recognition of status and career, structure, routines, restrictions, boundaries, which is all caught up in the 10th house, okay? So right now we have Mars, which is the ruler of the first house, Aries, what is Mars? So let's talk about the planetary aspect, right, of Mars. Mars is the god of war. It is our action. It is our sexuality. It is our drive. It is our primal urge. It is our fight or flight, okay? It is the primal root chakra correspondent that helps us to feel like we have a place in this world by seeing ourselves for who we are, by seeing ourselves. It helps us to, we're talking about how we see ourselves. We're talking about then how we are guided, how we let that sight, that vision, that passion, and that purpose guide us into our daily life and our daily routine. Now, Saturn is Father Time. Saturn is the master builder. It is the planet that bestows upon us the responsibility, the restrictions, the boundaries, the tests, the limitations, the fears, the guilts, all those things that pretty much are built up and regulated within the concept of karma. Okay, so we're talking about evolution. We're talking about evolving through karma. Okay, so what's happening here with Mars in Cancer is that Mars is in Cancer in the 4th house, a cardinal sign. We have a cardinal planet in the cardinal sign that's ruled by the moon. You could equate this to pressure to move forward. You understand what I'm saying? The pressures to move forward, the pressures to change, the pressure to integrate this change, this feeling, this pulse, this drive, this force, this new direction. Mars opposite Saturn is a very, very, very tight, a very, very, very pressure, very, very, very much potential for instability in our lives right now. And we're probably even more driven right now to find the faults and where to place blame and guilt for unfulfillingness, for feeling like everything is not as it should be, for feeling like we're not good enough, for feeling like we can't move forward, for feeling like we're not valuable enough. There is potential for that energy with this opposition. But the positive side of this opposition from Mars and Saturn is that we're actually truly, truly engaging with our own sense of self-determination. You understand what I'm saying? So with all this added pressure, with all of this push to change and to recreate structures, there is a lot of light in the darkness. Currently, as we're going through this opposition, we have a grand water trine. The moon right now is in the 3rd decan of Scorpio, which the 3rd decan of Scorpio is ruled by the moon. We have Neptune in its home sign of Pisces, which is ruled by the moon. And we have Mars right now at 18 degrees of Cancer, which the 2nd degree of Cancer, or the 2nd decan of Cancer, is ruled by Pluto. So there's this very fierce resilience. There's this fierce resilience right now. It's very, very divinely guided. Right now we're being guided into a new direction. But see, the importance of Mars being in Cancer right now, because Cancer has everything to do with our past pathologies, the way that we were nurtured in the world. Because see, what we don't understand is that nurturing that we did or didn't receive, and whatever facets within the 4th house. So Cancer is not the 4th house for everybody, but it is the 4th house in astrology. So the way that we're collectively going through this, the way that we're collectively going through that is the Mars and Cancer energy, where there is that force to integrate really new feelings, new emotions, new resonance. We are really, when we're talking about Cancer, we're talking about the condition of the heart, and so you have Mars, the planet of war, opposing the planet of time, restriction, success, and manifestation, the father planet, the father, the teacher, So this opposition really, really is causing us to feel frustrations, like we want to change, like we want a new career for many of us, like we want new status. We want a brand new world. We want to be able to establish something brand new. But see, with this opposition, there is some misunderstandings, and there could be some misdirection, misguidedness, of our views, or pertaining to our views, because remember that Mercury is in Cancer as well. So what is Mercury? Mercury is the way we communicate, the way that we utilize information, how we choose to communicate, through writing, through speaking. It all has to do with technology. So with Mars going through, or with Mercury in Cancer right now, this is creating a clearer perception. And it is helping to forge a new pathway, a new awareness, because ultimately the new path that we are paving as a people, as light workers, as God embodying beings, we're having to have our perception washed clean. Our bodies need to be washed clean. Our neurological system needs to be rewired. We are truly being made anew and made aware, more emotionally, more psychically perceiving things. We truly are being recreated in the image of God. People really don't understand what's going on. I come from a community of disenfranchisement. I come from pathologies and past lives where people have worked to constantly disenfranchise me. I was born into a state of poverty. I was born into a state of short-livedness. But out of darkness always comes the light. Out of darkness always comes the light. So let me personify this information a little bit more. So, our primal urges for survival meet the limitations set up by our founding fathers, Saturn. Time and space till itself as we face inner demons and purge ourselves of a waning torment. You can't escape the cages and chains placed by you until you face every foul beast and every monster that you nurtured and groomed as a part of your story. A push to heal, a new side of the grass. All right? So, we're talking about healing. We are talking about a deep psychological healing right now. What did I say about the fourth house? The fourth house is our nurturing. It is how our mind was nurtured. How we connect with the rest of the world, our roots, is all grounded, nurtured, and stabilized in Cancer. But see, the thing about Cancer, the fourth house, is that it is a house of longevity. The 10th house is a house of longevity. Like, those are 2 points of karma and points of destiny. Like, people don't understand that the fact that the south node is in Capricorn. Capricorn represents what has been established by all of our ancestors, those who came before us. Look at this world stage right now and look at everything that has been established before us. Look at the way that we've created culture, the way that we've created the banking system, the way that we have totally and completely, built up these world structures, which much of it is a Saturn. We live in a very Saturnian world. Saturn really does rule the 3D dimension. Everything that we have built up here in reality in its totality, every form of routine, structure, and everything that is perceived as notable, that is given some sort of recognition because it has value, because it's been built up. So what am I talking about here, Spirit? I'm talking about changing this shit. I'm talking about reestablishing, and I'm talking about a new world system. I'm talking about a new system where people are living in sovereignty, self-governing themselves. But now I'm jumping a little bit too ahead. If the 10th house deals in the longevity, the longevity that we have to deal with, the restrictions and strictures and structures and limitations and fears set up by our forefathers, Cancer is the area where all of that is nurtured, or if I reverse that, Cancer is the area where we nurture this connection to the world, the type of emotional security, because what that emotional security stems from, how we create that, is through connection. I keep saying that word, connection. What are we connected to? Our roots. Okay, what our roots connect us to? The earth. But how do we personify that? How do we personify this? Is through culture, through race, through traditions, activities that continue to validate and fortify these cultural standpoints, these pathologies that we are subjected to just from being born into our common cultures. This is how we connect to the rest of the world. And then in the 7th house of Libra is how we balance that, so, we balance that. It's the sign of one-on-one partnerships. So then we take everything that we've been building up, that we've nurtured, we take that authentic expression, and then we go to the 7th house and we start to identify with other people. We start to identify in partnership. We identify in a more union-based perspective. And then the 10th house is where we take that union-based perspective, where we take the perception that we've built through partnership, through union, through joining forces, through connecting, and we build status, we build recognition, we build schools, we build banks, we build cities, we build governments, we build structures. Then those governments build structures within structures through law and legislation. So what we're talking about right now, this is really, really huge energy. Like, okay, here's another way to personify Saturn right now. Saturn right now is a pimp. Saturn is the pimp that got his hoes lined up. Saturn is the pimp that got his whole, that runs the operation, that runs the produce, that looks over the produce, that looks over the packaging and the nurturing and the purification of the product. And then Capricorn is the product, but Capricorn is the product, but Saturn is running that shit. So Saturn is opposite Mars right now, because see, Mars is right now having to do inventory. Like, Mars can't move forward until it takes a look at the past. Mars can't be the hero that it wants to be until it takes a look at the past. Because right now, what the North Node in Cancer and the South Node in Capricorn is about integrating system, integrating the past, integrating into our future. But see, since the North Node is Cancer, we're looking to our past right now. This whole year has been about looking to our past to find out what's wrong and what can be used in the new world order, the new world structure, the new world regimes right now. So this Mars opposite Saturn is no joke, because this is really having to play on our emotions. It's really, really making us have to look at ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves, who would we rather be? Saturn is playing the pimp right now. Saturn just wants his money. Saturn just wants things to be built up. He wants things to make sense, and he wants to see really that you're using your past, that you're using your fears, that you're using all of this emotion to move forward. That's why Mars is there, because it's like, yeah, you can move forward, but don't just move straight forward on impulse, or just because you feel, or just because you see something that you want. You have to do some more work. You have to do the real work to integrate, unlock your past. First of all, unlock it, transmute everything that is not serving you, and then integrate those molecular, emotional DNA structures and pair it with your neurology, your mind, and become one with God, become one with your highest self. Become one with your higher self. Because it's all connected. It's all connected. Now, this also is a point of, so what I'm going to call this Mars opposite Saturn opposition, this aspect, is the fierce penetration of the egoic and karmic past. Because what did I say about the first, 4th, 7th, and 10th house, right? That those are all houses that contain our sense of self, and also how the world sees us, how we integrate with the world. You know, Aries is the first line. That's the initial spark, the initial idea, the new thing, the brand new fire, the brand new purpose, you know. And so with Mars being in the 4th house of Cancer, it's squaring the Aries energy, where we have Chiron, which is healing our purpose, healing our path, healing us, healing the way we see ourselves, healing the way we see the world around us, so that we can ultimately transform and change and grow and expand, right? Mars being the ruler of Aries is squared off by the Cancer energy. So this is helping our new direction. This is helping us to heal the past pathway so that we can integrate a brand new pathway. But we have to heal our past. We have to figure out what it is in our childhood, what it is that we needed, or what it is we got but didn't need from our parents, from the communities that raised us, from the tribes that we come from. And we need to take this. Mercury is creating new pathways, creating new resonance, creating new bodily resonance, creating new forms of communication, creating new forms of communication between yourself and the divine, so that you can fully integrate your past and marry it with your future as a yin and yang, as a light and dark, as a whole being, because we're going towards wholeness, balance, vibrations. But we have to use everything. We got to integrate everything. You know, there's not one stone that can be left unturned. We must go back to the past, not for the sake of living and dwelling there, but to take whatever keys, trinkets, and treasures that can be used as we navigate through karma. You know, part of navigating through karma, you know, because Cancer being the North Node is having us really go back to the past. It's like we're going back to the past. It's like the future is becoming more emotionally integrated. We're integrating more emotions, more emotional sensitivity, a different emotional value, a different collective subconscious state of being. So we are going towards that. But in order to do that, we have to face our past. We got to face ourselves. We have to face our communities. We have to face our mothers and fathers. And this is something that I'm not seeing being talked about enough through astrology. And you know, again, you know, we all are living our unique, authentic experience. But the full moon in Sagittarius is really going to open up this window. And it's going to create a new avenue of perception, you know, where some of the false perception around what we believed about each other, about the world around us, around the concept of sex, of spirituality, the concept of life period, is being pried open. You know, we are being completely evacuated. It feels like we are completely being evacuated. You know, we're all being lined up so we can evacuate from this matrix, you know, because ultimately what the Cancer, the 4th house is the matrix. So right now we're breaking through the matrix. This is really about breaking through the matrix. You know, all that stuff I said in the beginning, those are all physicalities and things that we could all be feeling. But ultimately, on a spiritual, emotional level, we are breaking through our own minds. We are breaking through into new paradigms. You know, this is just life, you know, this is just life. And with the moon right now in the 3rd decan of Scorpio, you know, we're really, really deep in our psychology right now. We are deep in the past. We are deep in our emotions. We are deep in nurturing success. You know, we are deep right now in nurturing success, because you gotta understand the moon rules Cancer. So all these planets that are in Cancer right now, you know, the moon is being affected by all that right now too. Not just the fact that it's not just the fact that you know, Mars, not just the fact that the moon is trining this Cancer energy, by the fact that these planets are now in the territory of the moon. So the way the moon is responding to things could feel very flabbergasted, could feel very unsettled, surprised, even, surprised, just very, very obstructions, just kind of things blowing up out of proportion. And so we're working to really give things new definitions. We're working to really define emotions. We're working right now. We're so frustrated because we're working so hard to define how we feel. But the only way I could say to heal this, that I will say to not allow this to take you over and to not even put in the work in that way, because the work really can't be done in our mind. The work really has to be done in our heart, our body, and we're really having to take action, do something different, So this is fierce penetration of the egoic and karmic past, the egos that we've portrayed, the sense of self that we've created, and all that stuff is rooted in karma. All of our egos right now are being shattered because all of it is really, really based in karma. The ego is good. You need the ego for protection, for some type of validity, for some type of creative self-expression. The ego makes you an individual, but a lot of our ego is being broken down right now. A lot of people don't like it because it's make them have to face their fears, face what they don't like about themselves, face the things that we've built up, that we valued, that have kept us from truly achieving more, and not just more on a physical level. That is only part of it. That is only going to last so long. So what really matters is the inner man, the inner spirit, our hearts are being challenged. Our hearts are being tuned up. So we have to truly, truly be soldiers. We are warriors in the army of God, in the army of the Lord. Just like them old ladies stay in church, I know that there's a reason why I was incarnated into this life as a black man. I know that my identity is not a black man, but while I'm in this earthly dimension, I am a black man. And, the only reason why I got into astrology is because, it's really because of my family. I look at the way that my family adored spirituality and God and the Bible, and utilize those things to create a way to feel better, to send up a higher vibration, to be one with God. We wanted more, Black people, minorities, gay people, all of these subgroups, they are the typhoon that are swirling in the ocean, that's opening up this vacuum of creation, of newness, for new light to come in. Light activation, this is also light body activation, so with purging our past, we're creating new light forms, new forms of communication within our organs. It's really, really about healing, you all. So, I'm looking to create more construct and more context around these deep realms of astrology, these things that I feel that are protruding from me. There are things that are protruding from me that not everybody vibes with, not everybody will be able to understand, just simply because it's not their experience. And particularly my experience as a black man, and I'm studying astrology, I'm not even in the state of being financially or materialistically where it would even look like I should be talking and being as excited about this. But that's the beauty of it. That's the light coming out of the darkness. God bless you guys, and I will see you later. Peace, love, and joy.